Welcome back, guys, to the post-podcast Q&A. Today, it's just me. Nick wasn't able to make it, but we have Rori back on the show. So, Rori, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And for you guys who haven't listened to the podcast, we're just on YouTube. Rori is a physical therapist, owner of Progressive Rehab and Strength, or PRS for the cool people, and a starting strength coach. So thank you for being willing to come back on for the
Thanks for
Q&A.
having me. I'm excited for the Q&A. We do Q&A once a month in our Facebook group, so they're always fun. You get some pretty good questions, and then actually this month we did half of them we did as full answers, and then we tried to do rapid fire, which was a lot
Ooh,
of fun. I can't do rapid fire though, let me tell you. I just go on tangents. So
I'm
I
the same
can't keep
way. Yeah.
anything sweet. I can't keep anything short and sweet.
Okay, so first question. So last year, you got the opportunity to compete internationally for the USA's powerlifting team in Japan for the bench press world championships. And you got fourth place, correct?
Yes, fourth place this past summer.
That's awesome. So can you talk about that experience, and are there any other athletic achievements you've hit that would top that one, or would you say this is the most proud athletic moment of your powerlifting career?
Oh wow! So that is a really cool question. So I actually competed at the bench press world championship twice.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah. So the first time was in 2018. I went to Finland, and then in 2019, this past summer, I went to Japan. And in 2018, my first time at the World Championships, I actually got second. So that was really cool. Um, both experiences were very different. Because of where they were in the world and
Hmm.
who I was with. So the first time I went, it was a brand new experience. I had no idea, excuse me, what I was doing or what to expect. But I think that the head coach of the team was really great. He made us feel extremely welcome and taken care of. And I just felt like I was with a family when I got there.
That's
And
awesome.
I had the same experience in Japan because it was the same coaches and it was almost the same team. Um, but my first experience, so my brother actually came with me when I went to Finland. And that was probably a better experience than even Japan was. I actually was just talking. Oh, I don't know. I just did a kind of like a blog interview on this, and I think that the what made it the best experience for me was that my little brother came with me.
That's awesome.
So that was why it was so meaningful for me, that I just got to spend a week and a half with my brother, and then we traveled. Plus, I got second place, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
And I did hit a competition PR when I was there. I think I hit 122 and a half,
You can't
which
beat
was
that
enough.
then, right? Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so yeah. But then Japan was another interesting and unique experience in and of itself, because it was my second time competing on the world or the national team with the national team. And I wasn't not naive and new going into it. So I didn't know what to expect. I knew where to be, what would be required of me when I got there, and all that kind of stuff. I actually brought two athletes of my own with me who also competed at the world at in Japan as well. So we had actually, as a team, we had multiple people go to bench press national championships and qualify and get invites to go to the world championship. And at the end of the day, it's very expensive to go to Japan, and we're only paying
Yeah.
for ourselves to go. So in the end, I only had two athletes who did compete, but it was very exciting to have people from my own team that with me, like my own athletes
Yeah.
there. So I was able to help them and be with them on the international platform. So that was really cool.
That is
But I
really
still
cool.
enjoyed Finland more than I enjoyed Japan.
All right. Okay. Finland. Okay. Okay. So this next question is actually, someone wrote this one in, and they wanted to know if you had a time that you failed in your career and how you overcame it.
Oh my God, I have failed so many times. And I try and talk as publicly about this as I can, because I really want people to understand that we are like, there is no one who is 110% perfect. And if anyone in any realm of life, whether it's diet, training, uh, professional, social, family, if any realm, no one is perfect. And if they're telling you that they're perfect and they expect perfect from you, they're lying.
Yeah.
That's my belief. So I have failed so many times. My biggest failures would be like not getting into, well, I got into PT school. So I mean, you would know this. So you did a 6 year, you're in a 6 year combined program, right?
Yes. So I didn't have as much of a stress to getting into PT school as like I would say the normal person in general. So
Right, but there is a certain point that if you don't have the GPA
mhm.
like a GPA requirement, that you can't continue into the graduate program. Is that correct in your
Yeah.
school?
Yeah.
Right. So I had like a 2.98 going into that, kind of like that year, that semester between like the crossover semester, and I had to get a B plus in like kinesiology and PT eval in both of them in order to bring my GPA up just enough in order to continue into the graduate portion of the program
Oh,
at
okay.
Boston University. And I got a B like everyone else. But like everyone else got a B in that class. But I needed the B plus in order to just bump my GPA up just a hair in order to keep going.
Yeah.
So I actually was not allowed to continue in the program at Boston University. So I then continued on getting my health sciences degree, and I added in a mind, like my senior year in college, you know how like people kind of cruise, well, you didn't cruise because you're
No.
in like
Yeah.
the 5 year whatever it is combined program, but people kind of like cruise in their senior year in college. But I added a human physiology minor because I was like, no, I'm like freaking determined to do this. And I want to take whatever courses that I need in order to set myself up to be successful in PT school. So I actually did like the best my senior year in college. And I took like neuroscience, cardiopulmonary pathophysiology, like weird things that like people don't
Yeah.
take their senior year, you know?
Yeah.
And I applied to 10 or 11 schools, and I only got into one.
It's
So
all it takes, right?
it's all it takes.
Yeah.
And then like literally the next year became like the most competitive, like it started to become even more competitive to get into PT school. So that is like my first fail. I've never really had it easy. Like I was denied raises for no good reason. Like which only has pushed me, and denied like visibility. Like I was working for a company where they wouldn't acknowledge that I was a coach on their website. And then like I've brought people into my business that have just kind of like screwed me over multiple times. But the thing is like you learn from all of it, and it
Hmm.
just like you can like wallow in your sorrows, or you can use it to keep pushing forward. And if I didn't go through any of what I've gone through, I never would have met John, because I met him in PT school.
There you go.
Um, if I didn't continue to pursue the starting strength certification, I wouldn't be as deep in the community as I am, and I really enjoy the community. Um, if I wasn't denied a raise, and if I wasn't denied visibility with like another coaching company, Progressive Rehab and Strength wouldn't have ever started. And if I didn't have people who came into my company and screwed me over, I never would have had the clinical coach membership or the courses that be developed. So with all of that, it's like you can choose to look at the negative things as truly negative, or you can use them to kind of keep building your path and your way.
That's
Was that
motivational speaking. Yeah, that's good.
That's a good
No,
question.
yeah, that's a good mindset to have. Take it as a lesson. Cool. Okay, so I heard it come out a little bit when you said Boston College, but you live in New York. And did you grow up in New York too?
No, I grew up, the first 18 years of my life, I lived in New Jersey.
Okay, New Jersey.
So,
Okay.
and then for college, I went to Boston University, and then grad school landed me in New York, which is where I met John, husband, got married, and now we own a lovely home here.
Nice. Okay, so when I hear you talk, and my dad's the same way because he's from Rhode Island, you have a little bit of an East Coast accent.
Yeah, for
And
sure. Not
do
gonna
you,
deny
do
it.
you think when you hear someone from the Midwest, are you
Oh
like,
yeah,
okay, okay, you're
yeah.
like, oh, that's a Midwest accent. Okay,
Oh yeah, and then even like southern
uh-huh.
accents. Like where was I? I was just traveling. I was in Colorado, and I think my layover was in Charlotte or something. And I was like, I can't listen to this. Like it was like another country.
That's
It's crazy. Yeah.
that's funny. So this is a little bit more of a serious question. So you're a physical therapist. So what's your strategy when someone comes to you with like two different diagnoses or two different things that they're bothering or that's bothering them? How do you go about deciding which one you go after first or put more focus on?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Typically, you first definitely want to decide which one is bothering them the most and which is causing them the most distress. Because you're only when you see people in person, you're limited to really the like time that you're spending with them. And in my practice model, I have an hour. Well, my evaluations are about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So I can do really like I can really evaluate two areas of the body, but I like a thorough evaluation includes like looking like talking. Like I usually talk to
Yeah.
someone for about half an hour. Then I do like postural and orthopedic evaluation, and then I'll do movement assessment. So whether it's the barbell or gait mechanics, whatever it is, like I've seen a connection between they'll come in, the primary concern will be a groin strain or groin tear, adductor tear. And then the secondary concern is that they've been having some shoulder pain, but really the tear in their adductor came because of their shoulder issue and how the bar is sitting on their back in the squat because of the shoulder issue. So a lot of the times it's the two problems that they're having are connected. So if you can figure out the connection between the two, it's usually easier to combat them together. But if they're completely like irrelevant to each other, then it takes a little bit longer, especially in person. You might want to address the primary and then say, okay, like we'll focus on the secondary like after. But what's great about the rehab coaching, like online, is that because of the nature in which we're interacting, we can really combat everything together.
So it looks at kind of what's maybe bothering the person or the primary thing they came to see you first with, and then go from there. Okay, so Rory, what's your Instagram? What's your Instagram handle?
My personal Instagram handle is RORIMEGAN_PRS. And my company is Pro Rehab Strength.
Cool. Okay, so if you follow Rory on Instagram, it would be hard not to have seen a video or two of her dogs. Can you tell us a little bit? How many dogs do you have
I
and
have
what are their
two
names?
dogs.
Okay, two dogs.
They're
Okay.
two dogs, and they're Chili and Pepper. And
Chili
they're
and Pepper.
somewhere, they're sleeping because I don't hear them. So they're
Okay.
sleeping.
Nice. Okay.
They're really cute. They're both rescues.
So you're a dog over a cat person.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I am too. What is one mistake that you see a lot of coaches make when programming for themselves or for another athlete? So just like one, just broad, maybe something you've noticed recently when, because you do a lot of coaching of other coaches. So when you're doing your mentorships, is there anything you are like, wow, okay, I see this problem that a lot of coaches have when they're programming for someone?
So I think that the biggest problem that I see people, there's a couple of them. One is overdosing intensity and volume. Um, I think that people place a lot of, there's this whole like mindset that you got to do more, you have to lift heavy all the time, and you have to kind of train at that maximum recoverable volume. But it's similar to anything in life, like even like maintenance and diet, there's like this range that's maintenance. Like it's usually like a 500 calorie range where like it takes you at the top end will put you in a surplus, and then the bottom end will put you in a deficit, right? And the same thing happens with training in terms of volume. Like there's this range of volume that will produce an effect for someone. And I think that a lot of people try and train at that top end of volume, where I think training at the like bottom end of the volume range for that person is going to be best. And there's this like workload injury paradox thing that's been floating around in the literature, where in terms of like periodization, people will go from these like extreme ends, like very low volume, a very high volume, low intensity. And then there's like these like cuts in the training program that go to like higher intensity, lower volume. And then as people peak for competition, there's not enough volume to maintain their fitness. And as they lose that volume and that fitness and they're training in these higher intensities leading into competition, that's when we start to see injury. So this like moderate chronic loading and chronic volume is moderate, not the highest of the highest that someone can recover from. Is going to be the range where a person is going to be reducing their injury risk, but also pushing forward with their strength. So that's kind of what I see, is that people are training with too high volume and too high intensity for too long, and they're pulling it out at the wrong times.
Gotcha.
Then the other thing is that I think people place so much emphasis on like supplemental lifts or variations to fix the main lifts, when they're neglecting to use the main lift at lighter loads or lower intensities and utilize their brain to change the motor pattern. So like cueing and slowing the lift down, lowering the load to fix, like, how do I fix chest, like my chest dropping on the squat? Oh, pin squats, or do high bar, or try front squats to fix that. No, lower the load and change the motor pattern. So like use your brain to change the motor pattern, and like don't train at such a high intensity that it allows your form to break down.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've found a lot of success too with using that lift, and also adding tempo all has
Yeah,
awesome
those are
effect too.
the like we will default to tempo or paused work as like the number one secondary movement or supplemental lift to start addressing weaknesses or technique flaws or deviations that we don't want, or breakdown that we don't want to see.
I've got one other question. And so we mentioned your company, Progressive Rehab and Strength. Can you tell us a little bit more about your company, and then where PRS is going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Sure. So Progressive Rehab and Strength was started, I guess, in like 2014 officially. We do in-person physical therapy and barbell coaching, and we do online nutrition, power, like barbell training, whether that is a novice or just someone doing general strength training, or all the way up to the competitive powerlifter. And we do rehab coaching. So it's not physical therapy because it's coaching because of like the legalities of everything. And we usually, when we do the rehab coaching, we usually work with, like, if the person is in Arizona, we'll find a physical therapist, chiropractor, or doctor for them to see, so that they can manage their like medical needs, and we manage their programming to facilitate their recovery and return to sport. We just, as of 2019, we just started online courses, and the intention with the online courses is they're really for anyone. Like an athlete can take them if they want to learn more about programming and technique. A coach can take them if they want to enhance their coaching knowledge. But the courses are really geared towards physical therapists first and foremost, and chiropractors. And the intention is to bridge the gap between what people are learning in school and what they're not learning in school, and what the evidence really says in terms of rehabilitating people and getting people stronger and increasing resilience and longevity in their lifespan. So those are what our courses are geared for. We've had one. We're in the middle of our second course, which is technical models. So it's all about like technique. The first 5 lectures are actually like, we don't even look at the squat, bench press, deadlift, or overhead press. The first 5 lectures are just theory. It's like pretty cool. And then programming fundamentals, we finished in November.
Okay.
And then we have more courses coming in May. And then we just opened our clinical coach membership, which is free for 2020. And it's, again, athletes, coaches, or clinicians, really geared towards the clinician though, really geared towards the newer clinician. So the student or the new grad, because we really want people to have that, literally that bridge between school and practice that they're not really getting when they want to go into this field. And our goal is really just to help build the knowledge base for new clinicians and give them the confidence that they need to open practices that really advance the field in the right direction, rather than kind of sticking to that old passive mill model
Yeah.
type physical therapy. So we've got that going. Everyone literally today is like signing in and logging in for the first time. So that's really cool. We do a clinical roundtable for an hour every month. Well, the lecture is an hour, and then there's a Q&A. We do a complex case study every month, and then there's a whole online forum and an article archive as well. And then a Facebook group that they'll have lifetime access to even after they're not a member. So that goes live officially on January 1st, 2021. So that will be open to the public for buying or like signing up for on January 1st, 2021.
Cool. So that's kind of in the future where you guys want to keep going on the maybe more continuing education type of courses and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we're working on getting CEUs for like NASM and NSCA, as well as for physical therapy.
Cool. Well, it sounds like you guys got a lot of cool stuff going on. Again, really appreciate you, Rory, coming on, and I'm excited to put the podcast and this out. So thank you so much. Thank you guys for listening.